I've invited, well, Nick always summarises, and generally he's making notes, but he's been busier this year, so he's going to do it off cuff. I wanted a perspective from Liz, broader Age UK context, but just her perspective. So I'm going to start with that, if I can.
Thank you. Ian, well, I think it's been amazing. And you know what, for this to work, this is exactly what needs to happen. That, you know, across sectors, across ages, we all get together and we share our expertise and we work together to make this happen. I've taken particularly 3 things away from this today. Lots of things, but 3 things that I want to share. One of the things that Caroline from NatWest said, kind of at the end, where she was talking that we need to share the good practice. We need to amplify it. We need to show. So we've talked about that a lot. You've heard that throughout the day, that we need to get people seeing how this can work. And one of the ways to do that is to amplify it. And I hope, certainly from Age UK London, we can do that on a kind of pan-London regional level and start sharing some of that really good practice. The other thing is that co-production. So putting people's voices, older people, certainly from Age UK London, older people's voices right at the heart of the conversations from the beginning. So that what we're doing is a co-production, what we're doing is we're working together, and I think that that's come across very strongly. And I've also heard, and I'm delighted that I've heard, that multi-generational aspect of this is so important, and I believe in that intergenerational aspect so much. You know that because I've mentioned it a number of times. And I've got a little quote I wanted to kind of bring to the table from Gwyneth, one of the older adults that we work with, and she's amazing. She's a campaigner, campaigns on transport, campaigned with us endlessly on our public toilet campaign, because we believe that got you out and about and it helped beat loneliness and isolation. And she was amazing. And last year she was celebrating her 100th birthday, and there she is still campaigning. And she said that what keeps her going, what's so amazing and been so amazing about her life, is working with younger people and being around younger people. And she said, I've got quite a few younger people about me. I have one person that I speak to that I befriended in COVID 5 years ago. I talk to her mostly every week for an hour on the phone, and I hear what's going on in her world. And that intergenerational is just so important.
Thank you very much. Well, Liz, thank you for that. That really does mean an awful lot, to think that you've been able to capture all of that in today's session. That validity, I think, is really, really welcome. I think one of the other points that I think I've welcomed today is that I think at various times we've all felt a little bit uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is this is a vast theme and topic and innovation. And at times you sort of think, my head, I don't know enough about certain things, or, and absolutely, I just want to sort of emphasise the fact that we're all in the same boat. We all bring something really tangible, really welcome to the table. None of us have got everything cracked because it's such a vast theme. But the one thing that I think we all bring to the table is that like-mindedness. We can see that innovation needs to happen. We can see that carrying on as we are isn't the answer, and so innovation is absolutely right. I think as well, driving a car, you've got that little rear view mirror above you, and we're looking back at having achieved part one of ISO 25553, and I think it is a momentous kind of stage that everyone has played a huge part in. But that little screen, that rear view mirror, is dwarfed by the huge windscreen in terms of the road ahead. And parts 2 and 3, if we thought part 1 was going to be intense, then part 2 and 3 absolutely will be even more so. And I'll go back to what I said right at the start in terms of retirement. I think can be made of 3 phases. You've got your go-go years, you've got your slow-go years, and you've got your no-go years. Well, I actually think that this whole venture has been that in reverse. I think we've had probably a few years where it was no-go. We were banging heads against brick wall. We were trying to find the right people. I think we've been in the slow-go years because we're learning so much in terms of what is an international standard, how do you make it, how do you create it, how do you build belief and confidence in it. But I really do believe that the forthcoming years are the go-go years. They have to be the go-go years in terms of making that innovation come to market and making the change that we all feel necessary. So thank you all for your participation today.
That was good, wasn't it? He always does that. Follow that. For me, it's actually quite simple. You gave me the cue, really. We had a deadline that kept on moving. Tom knows this, for the standard, and it stretched over Christmas. And we had a deadline of the 20th of January, which was the final deadline. And if we didn't deliver, we had to start back 5 years, right? We were told this explicitly. And it had to be word perfect as well. And we had to turn it over, and it was going round. And so we got it away at 6:30 a.m. We sent over to Tom, and basically on the 20th. And that was the end of part 1 for me at that time. However, today is the real end and beginning. Now, it kind of was going to be anyway, because of the coincidence of this being 10 years, as I said earlier on. But as I alluded to earlier on, the fact is, when creating these events, when pulling them together, it's a lot of thought goes into the programming. Who's going to be saying what? What's the sequence? And generally, it's been about providing experts with a platform for a keynote, which has then evolved into a discussion, which is a little bit more disparate. Today, we didn't really have to have those keynotes. And virtually every panel discussion was talking about the same thing. And the people in the room here, each and every one of you, know what we're talking about. And we can have a broad conversation with the people who were here this morning, the people here at the end. And the bigger picture is clear to us. So we're all kind of, if you like, ambassadors to what we set out to achieve. And for me, that is the achievement. That shows that it's more than what's written down, which not everyone obviously has read. But it is the fact that we've managed to communicate, and we are now set to make part 2, which is designed to be the reality, a reality. So I'd like to thank you all as representatives of this growing community for your work, for your passion, and as I said before, if you can take this with you, if you think about how it could be used, you could spread the word, feed back into us. We will be here, same time, same place, next year probably, but in the meantime, we have refreshments. I'd love to join you for a drink. I'd just like to thank Nick for his incredible work. I'd like to thank Claire in the corner and her team for their incredible work. I'd like to thank those who have contributed. I'd like to thank Bupa for supporting us today. I would like to thank Alex for the work that she's put in, and I would like to thank Anne-Marie, who's been incredibly supportive in respect of organisation, and I think I've got everybody.
No, you've forgotten one person. A thank you to Ian. So, well done, sir.
And thank you to Liz, and thank you to John, thank you to James, and thank you to Tuvi.